is like it lingers beyond yourself. It's kind of like a flower. They use the example. They said a flower could be here at this, you could have a flower right in front of you and that's where it's at. But there's a fragrance with that flower. And if the wind carries it, now the flower is everywhere. The essence of that flower can spread throughout an entire room. Now
I like that.
That's presence.
Yeah.
So the presence of Tom Brady can maybe here right now having, going through this practice, but his fragrance spreads throughout the entire team. And that's what we're talking about here.
This is interesting. It makes me think, I heard someone describing leadership one time, and it's very similar to your persona versus presence. They were saying that a lot of people think leadership is charisma, and it's about like how other people like feel in your presence. And it's not so much, and I don't mean to use the word presence, but it's not so much about like how people feel about you. It's more about how you make them feel about themselves.
Yes.
And
yes.
Like I've heard stories of Tom Brady walking up to rookies. This is in the last few years, like walking up to rookies and like being the first one to introduce himself. Now, again, this whole conversation is about intangibles, and you can easily just say like, well, who cares? Who cares who introduces themselves first? But like, I can tell you that matters. If you're 22 years old and you've never played in the NFL before and you look across that locker room and that's Tom Evan Brady getting dressed over there, and like, I'm not going to go talk to him. He's the greatest player of all time. And that guy,
they were kids growing up watching him play.
They were kids. This guy's my idol, or like, I've watched this guy my whole life. And for him to like walk over to those guys and say like, hey guys, I'm Tom. It's like, well, yeah, of course we know who you are. You're the greatest player of all time. But like, he doesn't have to do that. And like, it's very easy to dismiss that and just be like, oh yeah, well, Tom's like a great guy. And like, that's just who he is. He's nice. It's like, no, that's not about being nice. That's not about like being kind. It's about kind of like leaving this trail of excellence everywhere you go. And I like
he's communicating. He's saying you matter. You matter enough for me to introduce myself to you.
There's so much in that subtle introduction that it's 20 seconds. It's, oh yeah, you played at Cincinnati. Oh man, yeah. How is it at Bearcat Stadium? Blah, blah, blah. Like, it doesn't mean anything, but it's not about like the 20-second interaction. It's about the action of like going over there. And I don't even want to say like humbling yourself. Like, that's not what I mean. What I mean is like you are leaving that trail everywhere you go.